Welcome to season 2 of What Sales Can Learn From. In this season, we're taking a little bit of a different approach. And we're going to be talking with today's most successful sales leaders, not to find out what makes them so great, but where did they mess up that made them where they are today? What lessons have they learned from their mistakes? Because as Otto von Bismarck said, it is a fool who learns from his own mistakes. It's a wise man who learns from the mistakes of others. So subscribe to the channel, and if you've missed last season, check it out on the channel, What Sales Can Learn From Season 1. Here we go. Thank you for joining us for this episode of What Sales Can Learn From. Today, I am joined from the other side of the world with Karthi Mariappan, who is the co-founder and CEO of Hippo Video, which remind me to ask you how you came up with the name of Hippo Video.
Okay.
Now, he's a keynote speaker, a marketer, a product strategist, and has over 16 years of B2B experience. Karthi, you've built products from scratch. You've nurtured them into multi-million-dollar revenue. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your expertise with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here, and hope everyone is safe who is seeing this at home. And yes, we can come out of this all as a human race.
I absolutely agree. And I am always looking for the silver linings and the things that we can learn from all of this, which is the theme of our series this year, which is it's a fool who learns from his own mistakes, but it is a wise man who learns from the mistakes of others. So I want to start with that question. You've built products, you've grown revenue, you've started a company over the past 16 years. So what is the one thing or the one mistake that you've made along the way that you feel that you've learned the most from in that 16 years?
Yes. One important lesson as a sales person I learned is selling is not alone the job of the salesperson who we have entitled us. Mm-hmm. It's the person, everyone inside the organization need to understand what value prop you are giving up. As a product, as a service to your customers, understand that deeply, and whatever you take, you try to sell within your organization in that way, so that you always have where the customer had and understand I'm trying to sell. So that is one mistake I learned early in my life, wherein we had built the product and we were pushing the sales guy to sell, and it was not selling. We did not understand whether to change the salesperson and what tactic. Then we really understood like the value prop was not transferred internally as well. So people were building it, assuming certain things, and they did not realize like how to sell that feature, etc. So it started from your product design, your product management, product marketing, everywhere. We now emphasize like how do you sell this, whatever you built, whatever you design for your end user, so that it becomes easier for the salesperson.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is such an important lesson for us all to take in for a moment, because we always think of, all right, the selling is the job of the sales team. And really, if you have the kind of culture of excellence that is necessary to survive and thrive in this new environment we find ourselves in, it's that reality that we're all in sales. Everyone is selling in the organization. Whether you're the CEO trying to motivate employees, whether you're the marketer trying to build brand awareness, or the salesperson or the customer service person or the support person, we are all in some type of a sale. And the more that we can embrace that and put the customer first, I think that we're going to be able to make those pivots and changes that are necessary. So let's talk about some pivots and changes. As sales leaders are reimagining what the new normal looks like, what should they be keeping in mind as far as how to change their strategy in the midst of this pandemic? What are you seeing?
Yeah. So maybe I'll answer this in 3 important points, but let's look back and understand how much change has occurred. This change, this last 45 days, whatever we see as human race, we have not seen it for the last 100 years or so. So there is no playbook existing with any businesses, even the top Fortune 100s, they don't have a playbook. Even governments doesn't have a playbook. So the important key here is how do you innovate? How do you understand? How do you reconnect? So that is the first part. So as a human race, we are being very innovative under stress. And this is one such area where we can be innovative. The second point, important part is it's not selling anymore. It's about giving. So giving the value, making that connection. How do you actually transfer the value proposition? How do you help them do their job easily is what is going to be very important in that selling part. So that will be the second important part. And third, not the least one, is not being tone deaf. Understand and empathize as a human race, as the person you are trying to talk to. Understand how much effect it has been on each individual, each organization, each country, and deliver the message. That will be the key. So the three important parts I would take.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's I think a misnomer or an injustice that we do as sales leaders sometimes, where we look at spreadsheets and numbers. And now more than ever, we need to bring the human back into our sales strategy and into our sales processes and realize the reason we're doing this, yes, we need to grow revenue, but we're also trying to solve problems. We're trying to make the world a better place. And I think that is absolutely an important lesson. So how do you think, I mean, selling has changed. We know this intuitively. We know this by just observation. But how has it changed in the past few years? And what do you see as the new opportunities for sellers in able to connect with prospects and buyers? You mentioned a couple of things about, empathy, not being tone deaf. What else should we be doing?
Yes. The important part, even pre-COVID or the past few years, what we are seeing is what I call it as engagement-based selling. So what I say is, understand how do you engage with your prospect, with your customer for retention, everywhere. Engagement plays an important part. For the engagement to be very, very authentic and real, you have to be really engaging with them with the understanding. And what is that which is helping today is videos is helping in that, delivering that real authentic messaging. And by inherently, videos are engaging medium. So if you could use videos in your selling to be real and authentic, that is one clear change we are seeing in the recent years.
Yeah, because I think even in this day and age, in this digital age, in this virtual age, working from home is new. Virtual selling is now being forced on everyone. And if you look at the data, I actually have looked and analyzed some data, and it shows that only 41% of salespeople worldwide across industries and cultures, only 41% are really suitable to be able to work from home, that have the self-discipline and the motivation to be able to get that done. And video is just, it's a necessary thing now. And we're still trying to get sellers like how to look in the camera and be engaging when you don't have that in-person dynamic going on. So what are some of the do's and don'ts? I'm sure you've seen a lot of good sales videos and a lot of bad sales videos. What's the good? What's the bad? What are the do's and don'ts for sellers who are trying to incorporate video into their sales process?
Yes. I'm going to talk about very tactical things. I'm not talking about strategies here. The key tactic is go in front of the camera, do it n times. Because you're not going to get it right first time or even the fifth time.
Yep.
So it's all about getting accustomed to this new normal. Okay? And there is no magic in it. Everybody can do it. That is the first key thing. Second, be comfortable. As I said, be real and authentic. Prepare yourself. Use tools like teleprompters, which can help you understand the key points that you want to come again and again. That is the second important point. Three, a well-lit background and a comfortable background is good enough. You don't have to be very jazzy, etc. And all. Have a comfortable posture, preferably standing, because with standing you can actually emote very better. So that will be the three key do's, I would say.
Mm-hmm. What about the don'ts?
Yes. The don'ts is being very, very conscious about like how this is going to be, kind of. So don't be very conscious about it. Two, don't be very loud. Don't be very, very forceful. Make that initial connection, very calm, composed connection with that viewer. Then you can go for your value proposition, etc. And third important one, and the most important one, not more than 90 seconds. The video pitch should not be more than 90 seconds. That is what we have seen our data telling us. Like less than 90 seconds is where you are able to have the person view it fully, understand, That is the key here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so to summarize the do's, and it's so interesting too, because anytime we try to do something new, we're nervous. It takes us longer the first time we try to do it. I remember the first video that I ever shot for a sales engagement. It was maybe a 60-second video. It took me 15 minutes to shoot it.
Yes.
Because you do it over and over again. And the teleprompters, it's funny because what happens when you use a teleprompter is it forces you to think about what you're going to say. You have to write it out, and you go through and you read it out loud. And so and there's a lot of cheap, easy, free tools that you can use for a teleprompter. And then we'll probably include some links for people to those. But it helps you to also, this is what I have found, is that when I use a teleprompter, one, I have to think about what I'm going to say beforehand. But then two, when I get on the video, I'm not worried about forgetting the words. I'm not worried about what I need to say. I'm not, well, not as much tripping over what it is that I need to say. So it's sometimes these just very simple things to do. It's interesting to hear the data about the 90 seconds because and we're talking within the sales process. So let's talk a little bit more about that. When sellers are using video in their sales process, what parts of the process should they be doing it? And then what kind of results have you seen based on that?
Yes. So there are a couple of areas we have seen our customers benefited a lot by using videos. One, the first connection or the second cadence, within that you use videos, because that within this current scenario as well, it gives you the face to the signature. Mm-hmm. So people really understand who you are, why you are reaching out. So they're able to make that personal connect. And the second important part is closing. When you actually close it, when you're sending out contracts or when you're sending out some invoices or POs, etc. That is the two important areas where we've seen very good results. In case of first one, we have seen even 2x to 3x of response rates. And in case of closing, the closing has actually shortened by 60 to 70% because the contract discussion, everything, you can do it with videos, just describing the contract, why you have put this condition or why this prerequisite is there, kind of things. So these are the two areas we have seen it has worked really, really well.
Mm-hmm. And just anecdotally, I can share a story where I was working on a deal where there were 3 or 4 different founders that were decision makers. And throughout the sales process, I would talk with 1 or 2 here or there, but it was very difficult to get all of them in the same room at the same time. And so in my last call with 2 of the founders, I asked about, so what is it that you feel is most important to the other 2? What are they most focused on? And by getting that information, I did a video afterwards where I addressed the people's concern, but then I also addressed the people who weren't in the room, saying, I've heard that this is something you're concerned about. Here's how we're going to handle that. And they came back to me and said, that video was so personalized. That is why we decided to work with you. I mean, it seems crazy to say that one video is what can differentiate you and close the deal, but I'm sure I'm not the only person that's happened to that you've seen.
Yes, because it puts a face. So people really want to deal with people. It's about building trust, be real, authentic.
Yeah, it's funny because I sometimes get into these, let's call them conversations or heated conversations with people who are using like artificial intelligence, and that artificial intelligence and the machines are going to replace salespeople. And my response is, until we get to the place in a human race where we're comfortable with machines making life and death decisions for us, I don't see that being a thing where we completely are automated and machine-based. And even still, for automatic, for AI and so forth, we still need a human to teach it. So I don't think that we're there yet. I think that the technology, video can all enhance the human connection that we are all craving right now. So I really want to ask about how you came up with the name for your company, Hippo Video. Where did that come from?
So we did a long research on what should be the name of the organization. And we felt if you have an organization end with an O, it is easily rememberable by the people. So, and we were thinking what to name it. We were thinking the 3 founders ourselves. We are resilient inside, but very soft outside. So we could naturally relate it to the hippos. So that's how it came to Hippo.
I love it. I love it. And they are a majestic animal, so I can totally see the respect that would be given there. But I didn't know the part about the ending in the O. So for all of you founders and startup founders out there, if you're trying to think of a name for your company, see if you can end it in an O. Awesome.
Yes.
Karthis, Thank you so much for all of the insights today and how we can start to leverage video and pivot our strategies in this new age, I guess you could say. Any parting thoughts or words that you would want to share with those who are watching about how to best leverage video in their sales process?
Yes. So one example I will close with. So I read about a perfume or a company which was selling perfumes across stores, and they had to shut down because of COVID, and they switched to videos. All their advisories, in-store advisories, they moved to video selling, where they created videos and they were reaching out, and actually their sales boomed like around 200%.
Wow.
So as we can get innovative with videos, and wherever we want to include in the sales, yes, we can.
Absolutely. There is always a way. And I look at it as when things like this happen, when disruption like this happens, it is the perfect opportunity to seek innovation. Innovation is the necessity of either change or laziness. And in this case, so, Karthi, thank you so much for joining us today. Everyone who is listening in, we're going to have some links in the attachments where you can go and visit Hippo Video. You can check out Karthi's LinkedIn profile. Please engage, send out some questions and how you can succeed in using video. Thank you so much for joining us today, Karthi.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me here. Have a nice day.
Stay tuned for our next episode by subscribing to the Sales Experts channel or the Unbound Growth blog and YouTube channel. Let's continue the conversation there or on the Sales Experts LinkedIn group. Check the attachments for links to both and to follow our guests on social media and their websites. Until next time.